These MAGA extremists and their loyalty to Donald Trump is the reason why this country cannot progress. And even if Donald Trump doesn't win the White House in November, these MAGA extremists will continue to be the reason why this country doesn't progress, because they hold a loyalty to Donald Trump and not to this country and its citizens. This is Republican Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, James Langford. Senator Langford has been working diligently with Democrats to bring forth an immigration bill that will include some restrictions for immigration, will expand some things with immigration. He states that it is an excellent bill, and it is one of the best bills that has come across in Congress. Senator Langford hit the news shows on Sunday, yesterday, to confirm some things that were in the bill while shutting down rumors, lies, and conspiracies about the bill. Here's what he said on Fox News yesterday about the bill.
It would be absolutely absurd for me to agree to 5,000 people a day. This bill focuses on getting us to 0 illegal crossings a day. There's no amnesty. It increases the number of Border Patrol agents. It increases asylum officers. It increases detention beds so we can quickly detain and then deport individuals. It ends catch and release. It focuses on additional deportation flights out. It changes our asylum process so that people get a fast asylum screening at a higher standard and then get returned back to their home country. This is not about letting 5,000 people in a day. This is the most misunderstood section of this proposal. Let me tell you briefly what it is. In the last 4 months, we've had 7 days. In 4 months, we've had 7 days that we had less than 5,000 people. This is set up for if you have a rush of people coming at the border closes down, no one gets in. This is not someone standing at the border with a little clicker saying, I'm going to let one more in, we're at 4,999, and then it has to stop. It is a shutdown of the border, and everyone actually gets turned around.
Okay.
That's the focus that we have right now, is how do we actually intervene in this administration and turn people around, not let people in.
So there may be some initial measurements. You get to that rolling 5,000 in a week, and then it's 0 from that point on. But there is some initial measurement. Our Bill Malugin is reporting that the number would dial back then to about 3,750 a day at the border. And then once you hit that for about 2 weeks, the gates would open again. Can you confirm or deny that?
Yeah, it's not, again, it's not gates opening. That's a misunderstanding of the bill itself. It's how many can we process and actually deport. When you raise the standard for people coming across, when you increase the detention beds, when you increase deportation flights, you're not letting people in. And people are thinking about how the Biden administration is running it now. Right now, the Biden administration is allowing, for instance, 1,500 people a day just to come to the ports of entry, get a work permit, and get released in the country. People coming between ports of entry get what's called a notice to appear and get released in the country. All of that stops. We're focused on how many people can we process quickly and then deport out of the country, not release into the country. It would be absolutely absurd for anyone to be able to propose something to say we're just going to slow the number of releases. We're focused on how do we actually enforce our border and get us back to 0 people actually crossing the border illegally. Every administration has struggled to be able to get the authorities in place to be able to actually enforce our border. Let's put them in place.
Sounds like a good plan to me, because I do recognize that there are issues down at the border. We really need to do something about our immigration policy. I recognize that. And then she says this.
That are not being enforced. So why give him this in an election year, the cover of this deal that, critics say is still going to let a lot of people in, but he gets to take a victory lap that he's gotten something done.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not going to let a bunch of people in. It's focused on actually turning people around on it. It is interesting. Republicans 4 months ago would not give funding for Ukraine, for Israel, and for our southern border because we demanded changes in policy. So we actually locked arms together and said, we're not going to give you money for this. We want a change in law. And now it's interesting, a few months later, when we're finally getting to the end, they're like, oh, just kidding. I actually don't want a change in law because it's a presidential election year. We all have an oath to the Constitution, and we have a commitment to say we're going to do whatever we can to be able to secure the border. Just as a quick, for instance, the last 4 months, we've had 50 people cross our border on the terror watch list. 50. We've had tens of thousands of people that were declared by this administration a national security risk that came across our border and were released. It is our constitutional obligation to be able to secure our country as fast as we can secure our country. This puts in mandatory pieces that haven't been there in the past to make this administration actually enforce the law. I would tell you that I don't know of anyone that believes that if President Trump was elected, well, he was president right now, this border would not have this problem. So the thought that somehow President Biden can suddenly be the pro-national security president in the final months of this is not.
That right there tells me that Fox News, the people who watch Fox News, the congressmen who are Republican and support Donald Trump MAGA extremists out there on social media, they don't care about what's really going on at the border. They don't care about protecting the United States. They just want to be able to use that as their talking points to validate whatever it is that they are trying to do. And that currently is trying to get Donald Trump elected. You just heard her. Why give him a win? Why give Joe Biden a win? As a result, that Senator James Langford, who's working with Democrats to try to secure the border, he has now been censured by the Republican Party in Oklahoma. I got this from one of the pages that I follow over on Instagram, polyalert.com. The Oklahoma Republican Party has approved a resolution condemning and censuring Republican Senator James Langford for his role as a chief negotiator of the bipartisan Senate border security talks between Democrats and Republicans. They don't want to fix the problems of this country. They want to maintain their white supremacy. They want to be able to maintain their oppression of people of color and black people. That's what they want to do. They want to ensure that brown people, black people, women in this country remain in their place. That's all they care about. And because of that, I will be doing my best to make sure as many of those MAGA extremists are voted out of office. I will be voting Democrat in 2024.